Hey, welcome into 1500ESPN.com. Matthew Coller with you, along with Judd Zulgad, and we are inside today because it's really ugly weather. Judd, all of a sudden it went from being 95 degrees and me melting to it's freezing and ugly and gray out there.
You know what? It's hockey weather, though, Matthew. That's the key. Hockey's coming. It's fall. It's just about fall here.
No, this is just an off day. This is just a bad day. Hockey is not here.
I thought hockey was right around the corner.
No,
Sorry about
I know
that.
you're always thinking about hockey.
Yeah, the ice. You know, it's cold outside today.
Not ice cold yet. But anyway,
Close.
want to talk with you, Judd, for this video about the Vikings offensive line. Because thus far in training camp, we've already had some questions emerge, including about Riley Reiff. He's missed a couple of practices here with a back injury. It looks like he's going to be back, but it brings up the topic for me, behind him, how much confidence should we have in the players, most notably Rashad Hill, behind Riley Reiff? Should we be worried if Reiff has to miss time?
I think you absolutely should be when you sign a guy to a big free agent contract. Said player comes in, gets started in the first training camp practice that he's going to participate with new team, and by the way, the player is highly paid, has to leave, and we found out he's got a back problem. The last time I checked, there was no positive to an offensive lineman having a back problem.
No.
This is where it surprises me that the Vikings don't have a better backup plan. I really thought that they would go out during the past few months and sign a veteran offensive lineman who could basically play left and right tackle. And I'm not saying that player has to be perfect, but Rashad Hill might be a nice player. Nonetheless, he's an undrafted guy signed by Jacksonville, plucked by the Vikings off the practice squad, and a guy that they didn't trust to replace TJ Clemmings until TJ Clemmings got hurt in week 17.
Right.
I would feel better for the Vikings if they had somebody in place who they could plug in, and I think it's a big concern that Riley Reiff has a back problem less than one full practice into his first practice with the Vikings.
Okay, I don't want to freak out yet about his health because I don't know how serious it was. We are so early in this process of training camp and preseason that if a guy even has the smallest tweak, they say, why don't you take a couple of days off? Because this is a veteran player and we've got still, as we record this, more than a month to go before they actually play real football that matters. So no freaking out yet about Riley Reiff for me. Rashad Hill, I think you're in a lot better shape than they were last year in having him play the backup tackle position. He looks like to me, from seeing him practice against Everson Griffin, like he's done a pretty good job. And if he's got to come in for a couple of games, we saw him in one game last year, you might be okay there. Okay. Last year, their backup situation was so poor that even the starters, Jeremiah Searles and TJ Clemmings, weren't capable backups. They were guys that you could not trust even for a single game. So with Rashad Hill, I think for a couple of games, if he has to play, he will be okay. Now, beyond that, though, that's where I would start to have questions. Hill has only played on the left side, I think, ever. I don't think he's played the right tackle position even in college, or he was on Jacksonville's practice squad. I would be concerned about that because I think Jeremiah Searles is the next guy up, and he struggled in that position. That's where I would have liked to see them bring in
and that's my point.
A veteran. Yes. Because I don't think there are veterans out there who can just play backup left tackle. I think backup left tackle is so hard that I don't know that anyone you can sign, if they're good enough to play left tackle, they're probably starting for someone.
I just think that the Vikings got sort of a lesson last year in what happens when you aren't prepared. I mean, in the ideal world, it's not that the Vikings starting offensive line in 2016 was not great, but it wasn't awful. I mean, Khalil was Khalil. He's not fantastic, but he could certainly play the spot. So what the Vikings got, though, was a year of you've lost a ton of guys. What are you going to do? And their backup plan was awful, which is why I would have liked to have seen them aggressively go out and get a veteran. I'm not saying that player had to be paid a ton, but you would like that player in place. What you don't want to happen is what happened last year where, oh my gosh, Rashad Hill's going to struggle. He can't play. Now I'm calling people on their couches. Right. I don't want to be calling people on their couches. I'd much rather have them here, be paying them a little bit, and have them completely prepared.
So something has also started to emerge, and you heard this from sources the other day. Oh yeah, we got sources, everybody. So behind the scenes, ESPN, we have sources. People are talking. Yeah,
in Mankato, late night in bars.
What you heard was that Joe Berger making the transition to right guard maybe hasn't gone as well as the Vikings hoped it would. He played pretty well at right guard over the last couple of games of last season when he had to go in for Brandon Fusco.
Yep.
But in training camp, it's been a little bit rocky, and you probably got it from a source who's more football than me, but I can confirm.
But you confirmed it.
From watching from the sideline, yes.
What's going on here?
He has struggled a bit. I think he's just been pushed around a lot by this defensive line in practices, and it's a very good defensive line.
Okay, so is this concerning, or is this just a testament to how good the defensive line is?
I think with his age, yeah, it becomes concerning.
Okay.
Because he was slotted in as we're going to be confident in this starting right guard.
Yep.
And it's a guy who's 35 years old.
So if Berger struggles, the progression plan is what?
That I'm not sure.
Elflein to center and Easton to right guard?
I think that's probably what would happen because Easton got some experience last year, and he's a guy they like. They traded for him. Danny Isidora, too, a rookie who's a fifth-round pick. And I know when you hear fifth round...
That's a great football name, by the way.
It is.
Danny Isidora is a great football name.
yeah. When you... the ISO block from Isidora.
Sounds like a tough guy.
Am I right?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, no, he's been shouted out a couple of times by Mike Zimmer as a guy that he's liked so far. But still, if you're asking a fifth-round pick to come in and play significant time, that might be a concern, even if you like his long-term projection as a player.
Sure.
The way I look at it is if Berger struggles at right guard early in the season, that could present quite the problem because that's a spot that they thought they had locked up.
Now, Berger, under no circumstance, would be shifted back to center, correct?
I don't
That's
think
not
so.
in the cards,
I don't
no
think
matter
so.
what happens.
I would be very surprised by that because of how high this team is on Pat Elflein as their center. They're competing still, Nick Easton and Pat Elflein, but I think they want Elflein to win that job and be a center.
All right.
Even though he played the right guard in college, I guess, at least from the way it looked yesterday, they had Easton playing the guard and Elflein playing the center.
Yep.
When Berger was on the sideline. So I would think that it would go that way, though Easton is a little undersized for a guard.
So give me at least one offensive line positive so far from the first week of Vikings training camp. What's the most positive thing? I mean, we talked about Reiff not playing because he's hurt.
Yeah,
we talked about right guard not working out. What do you think is the positive that you're seeing?
I think
Remmers? I don't know.
The way people are talking about Elflein so far and the progress he's made as the guy that they drafted in the third round, which is always tough to make that sort of transition from a third-round pick to a starter. I think he's got a really good chance to earn the job, and I think he's making a good first impression. One of the hardest things for a center early on is to just learn the offense and learn the calls, and he is known as a very smart guy that's making that adjustment pretty quickly. I think that is your biggest positive so far. Remmers, to me, looks like Mike Remmers. Like, not anything special. He's not dominating guys out there. Daniil Hunter makes everyone look bad.
Right.
Daniil Hunter is such a monster.
That's a good point. This D line is going to make a lot of people look bad.
Right. So my expectation for Remmers is that he should be an average right tackle. He'll be okay. He should be solid. Alex Boone is Alex Boone. Same thing. He's got some pluses and minuses to his game. But Elflein, to me, if you're going to feel much better about this offensive line for this year, having not seen Reiff at all, you at least know there's a backup in Rashad Hill, where you didn't have one last year.
Sure.
And I think what you've got here is a starting center in Pat Elflein who could be pretty good.
You found a positive.
So it's all
found
fixed.
a positive.
It's all good. There are no issues here.
Your left tackle's not playing. Your right guard's struggling, but you found positives. I think that's very good.
All right. Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you right now, your left tackle having a bad back ain't good.
No,
I'm willing.
probably not.
I'm not saying
good.
I'm not saying I'm completely panicked, but if it's an ankle or something, I'm saying to myself, who cares? Tape it up. Can't tape it back up, and backs linger. And don't forget that Zimmer said on day one of camp, it's not that big a deal. He'll be back soon. He's still not back. Now Zimmer said again on Wednesday he'll be back in the next couple days. I am very curious to see if that happens.
Well, we will be back very soon with another video, and check out the Purple Podcast, 1500ESPN.com. More of this. If you like this, there's a lot of it.
There's a lot. My gut's growing quickly. Bye.
See ya.